Hello and welcome along to day 2 of Glorious Goodwood, where the feature action is the £1 million Qatar Sussex Stakes, and we have quite an exciting horse who's leading the market for this race. He was the leading juvenile of last season. His name is Too Darn Hot. He had a couple of little hiccups earlier on in the season. He wasn't quite showing his best form, but he roared back to form over 7 furlongs in the pre-John Pratt last time out in Deauville. Lads, I don't know what you thought of Too Darn Hot last time out in France. He looked like something back to his best. Certainly in terms of the form figure that he produced in that race, it kind of matched the best of his juvenile form. He's moving from 7 furlongs back up to a mile here. What do you think of the market leader for the Sussex Stakes?
Well, the first thing to say, he's probably quite a fast mile, isn't it, Goodwood? Obviously, they sweep off that top bend, and it doesn't put the accent on stamina that perhaps a mile at the Curragh might do. So, although for me that was his most disappointing performance, that race in Ireland, but he did have a very interrupted spring, didn't he? And he was rushed for that race at the Dante Festival in the Dante behind Telecaster, and I just wonder whether they tried to compact a little bit too much into a short space of time with Too Darn Hot. Obviously he was a champion 2-year-old last year. The duo's performance is working out pretty well now as the season continues. Second was Advertised, third was Anthony Van Dyke, and fourth was Sangarius, who've all gone on to win feature races this year, derbies and Commonwealth Cups, etc. So that form is starting to stack up quite nicely, and his performance last time at Deauville, it was tremendous. Impressive. Space Blues went into the race. Godolphin perhaps felt that he was capable of mixing it with Too Darn Hot, and he just destroyed him. He just ran away from him. And given the way that Frankie Dettori has ridden all summer, even money doesn't look too bad to beat this
Mounty,
field.
if you were to sum up Too Darn Hot season in one word, what would it be?
It's a toss-up between Unorthodox and
Yeah.
So, tricky one, because I was quite happy to take him on at Ascot. I think I even said he was too darn slow when we were doing the preview that time. That was a bit harsh, admittedly, but he did fail to settle when third to Circus Maximus. He'd also failed to settle when runner-up to Phoenix of Spain at the Curragh in the Irish 2000. I mean, maybe that was worth upgrading because he did come from mid-division on a pace-favouring track. And I agree with Sam, he was impressive at Deauville, but that was a straight 7 furlongs in a biggish field, and he was drawn on the right side as well, the far side where all the pace was. We're going to be looking at a small field tactical affair on undulating track, round a bend. I mean, I'd take a short price that he's going to take a strong hold again and race choke out. And that could perhaps be his undoing at very short odds. But the race could really fall apart. I mean, I was interested in King of Comedy, but you said this one may head to France instead now.
Yeah, I think he's going to head to France for another, and I think Romanised as well also heads over to France for his next target.
Yeah, it's a shame King of Comedy. I mean, his dad won this 5 years ago. It was tremendously impressive with the race. It would have been good to see
King
him
of Comedy, I mean, John
Gosling
Gosling seems to think that he's ideal over 10 furlongs. He's looking at races like the Irish Champion Stakes for him later on in the season.
Right.
So, I mean, back to the Sussex Stakes, it looks like Too Darn Hot has just been earmarked for this race now, and King of Comedy is going to go elsewhere. It remains to be seen what's going to go up against him. Circus Maximum, the St James's Palace Stakes winner, needs to be supplemented. If he goes, has to be respected, of course. Phoenix of Spain, you'd suggest that he's perhaps a solid each way poke at around about the 6-1 mark as things stand, but other than that, his limitations were somewhat exposed last time out, don't you think?
But he is a pace angler in the race, isn't he, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, well, last year, though, he didn't want to be anywhere near the front end, and Beat the Bank elected to make the running, and the ill-fated Beat the Bank, who was beaten in a small field for one of the only times in his career. And of course, Lightning Spear had always found that Group 1 victory elusive, has sort of come over the top and done them all. We had Here Comes When win a couple of years ago at 20-1 when the ground came in his favour. Like Goodwood, liked it soft. So there could be a shock here, and it's not a race I'm particularly enamoured with at the moment. Certainly not for Too Darn Hot at that price.
Well, as things stand, the weather around the UK is pretty damn good. So, I mean, you'd imagine that we'll be looking at good summer ground, unless the heavens open.
I think if you were looking for a value bet in the race other than Too Darn Hot, I think something like Skarduoles would sort of enter.
Always runs his race, doesn't he?
16-20-1, he's finished right up behind them in the St James's Palace, only beaten a length and a half. Ran in the same Curragh race, he was just behind Too Darn Hot on that occasion. Obviously third in a Guineas on the wrong side. He has won over 7 on fast ground as well, so he has got that little bit of speed, so that shouldn't be an issue. So 20-1 on the same form line as 2
It might be worth sort of playing each way to anti-posted small stakes. You're getting 3 places, and it could cut up to 7 or fewer runners on the day. So you
or
might
on the
end
day
up
without the favourite
extra places.
if there was a few runners.
You suggested a Queen Anne winner, Lord Glitters. I mean, he's got to give £8 away, doesn't he, to his younger rivals? So that would be his Achilles.
The track worries me more.
Yeah, as well.
And the pace. I mean, like Accidental Agent, he seems best off a strong pace at a
It
big
will be
field.
interesting to see if these horses take their chance, the likes of Lord Glitters, the likes of Accidental Agent as well. Skarduoles might just be a good shout, you know, Sam. So yeah,
That sounds so
Just been
surprising.
no, because it is difficult to get a grip on exactly what's going to take on to down now. I don't think Skarduoles going to be and Connections will be afraid of taking on this race.
Well, I'd be amazed if they didn't. I mean, he hasn't got a lot to find with the favourite, has
not
he?
a great deal. So yeah, Skarduoles, I would agree with that as a fair value selection. And Mountie for yourself?
I'm not going to make it 3 for Skarduoles. I don't want to put the mockers on, but I think at this stage I just have to
Take a pass, yeah.
keep my powder dry and
Maybe
have
a
a closer look at
layer of 2 down hot odds on probably when the final declaration.
There's a couple of handicap races on day 2. We've also got the Mulcombe Stakes over 5 furlongs. I'll be interested to see if Keith Dalglish runs Las Vegas in the Mulcombe Stakes over 5 furlongs. He was staying on really strongly in the Windsor Castle at Royal Ascot last time out. I know you have 1 or 2 kind of handicap angles at Goodwood in terms of pace and things.
Well, I mean, in terms of the draw on the straight track for the 5 and 6 furlong races, low to middle down the centre of the track. You don't want to be anywhere near that stand side rail. If you look at the sprint races and fields of sort of 10 to 20 runners, since they've reversed the draw in 2011, those drawn in double figures are something like 11 from 300. It's about 3.6%
Stat attack.
You'd lose over £210 to a £1 stake if you back them blind. You'd actually make a profit backing everything drawn in stalls 1 to 9 in the sprints of, say, 10 to 20 runners. I mean, there was a big price 125 to 1, but even so, without that one, you'd still be in the black. So just look for low drawn down the middle of the track, not necessarily in the Stewards Cup and the Stewards Cup consolation race where they spread right across the track, but when there's sort of 10, 15, 18, maximum 20 runners, low draws down the middle.
We have to note that you didn't look at any notes while rattling off all those stats. You didn't look at mine, which you do sometimes as well.
That's worrying, really, isn't it? That is worrying that he actually knew that.
All off the top of his head. Absolutely brilliant stuff. That's just about it for day 2 at Glorious Goodwood. The Qatar Sussex Stakes is the feature event. Will Too Darn Hot cement his reputation in this race and justify favouritism? It remains to be seen. We'll soon find out.